Another aspect of us is our inner child. So we were like that when we were kids, when we were young. And we were very spontaneous. You know how the children are, they're like, if they're always joyous, happy, something wrong happens, they cry, but then 5 minutes later they're good again. It's like, comes and goes very easily. And children are very wondrous by nature. Just like the dogs, they're always running around, always looking around, finding a butterfly or some insect, and they keep on chasing it and running and playing. They know they cannot catch a bird, but they still, try to play. So they're very, very wondrous. So just like the children are very wondrous and very spontaneous, as well as very curious. So the children always ask parents, what's this, what's this, what's that, what does this do, what does that do? And this is why children live very in the present moment. They live very in the now, and in that now there is that wonder, that curiosity, spontaneity, and there is a lot of learning. So if you look to the timeline, you will realize that the children learn so much so quickly in the very first few years, and then as they grow up into becoming early teenage or teenage, the mind really starts to take over, and the adults are already, generally speaking, condensed minds who say, oh, that's a tree, that's the sun, that's the clouds, and these are just labels. There is no more wonder, no more curiosity, and the tree becomes just a label. Yeah, that's a tree, I know this. That's the pond, I know this. So this becomes, from the present moment of spontaneity, joy, wonder, curiosity, the mind condenses to declare that it knows it all, and everything becomes label. The reality itself becomes just stickers and labels. And the person then spends their time in the mental reality. So this is a very beautiful example how children live in the real world with curiosity and wonder. When they approach the tree, they don't say, that's a tree, and they're not interested. No, they come to the tree, they hug a tree, they climb a tree, they look what kind of insects or little things or leaves, and they play with it. So that is the realness of the present moment. And the tree, when you approach it, it's a living being. A tree is a living being. If you will observe, you can actually feel the energy of the tree, which is very calming, very grounding, rooting. You can feel not only the energy, the tree has a soul and a very healing energy. At the same time, the tree is not a single organism, but it's a house for other organisms too, because there are usually many insects and birds make nests on the tree. So you see such a massive difference between simply walking in the park and labeling these are just trees and following the path of the mind in the park, or the child completely immersed in the present moment, playing with wonder and curiosity with life, with this moment, life as it is. So this is how children do live in the present moment. And adults further and further descend into, not ascend, but descend into the world of the mind. However, every one of us, every adult has inner child. Every adult has an inner child. And usually it's a bit suppressed. It's like, oh no, this is for children, like, no, I'm not gonna do that, and these are all the attitudes of how adults block the inner child, the spontaneity. When you go to a park and you see a swing, they say, oh, that's for children, and this is the blockage, And if you actually go and just sit on that swing, and just swing it, and you're gonna remind yourself, wow, that's so joyous. It reminds me of my childhood, and so the spontaneity arises, and you can develop awareness to see how inside you feel that little urge to do something spontaneous, to do something childish, to do something fun. But the mind kind of blocks it. It says, no, it's, I'm too old for this, So the awareness really helps to see the inner spontaneity. And if you follow that, it will bring you joy. It will bring you curiosity, wonder. And there is always something to learn from the trees, from the animals, from the insects, from the clouds, from the sky, from the earth, from the mountains. This is actually the consciousness of oneness. When you're truly connected, immersed, and one with the nature, immediate nature, and this Mother Earth. So in this oneness, that spontaneity comes back. It starts to come back. And this is why the next step is presence. When you truly come back to the present moment and you let your mind step aside. Because the mind has its own reality, which is a mental reality. And this is how you slowly come back to the present moment, and you slowly come back to your inner child. The inner child, in the work that we, in the many healing work that we've done with myself and Leon, we've seen that people really suppressed it, and the inner child holds traumas. The inner child holds traumas. And when you start returning to your inner child, it's also a very healing process. So not only the spontaneity, joy, wonder, curiosity comes back, but you also heal the traumas. You also heal the difficulties of your childhood. Maybe there was lack of love. Maybe there was some bullying when you were young at school. Maybe there were some sort of diminishments. Or maybe you were always the kid in the corner, or maybe you were a geeky kid, or this or that. There is always some kind of trauma or healing that needs to be done. And when that heals, it further brings you back into the present moment. It further allows you to enjoy life. So this is why oneness consciousness is also joy. Yes, the quality of oneness is joy. It's coming back to the joy of living. Many times when you look at, when you look at the the people who have attained the high levels of consciousness, you do see in their eyes that, you know, childishness but wisdom. You know, it's non-dual, because there is that spontaneity in the moment, but there is a vast intelligence behind it too, because the traumas are healed, the consciousness is open, and there is that natural moment-to-moment awareness, natural spontaneity. So many times when we travel around or so, you know, there were many moments, you know, when I suddenly say, hey, let's stop here, you know, and let's do this. And then everybody's like, oh, you know, we were going there. I say, no, let's stop here. And then we stop, and then something, you know, something beautiful comes out. So, you know, it's in that moment that you can, if you are very spontaneous, you can truly find much more richness. You can find much more richness, much more vaster experience of what this moment can provide you. So, in oneness consciousness, you know, oneness consciousness is already above inner love, and that after that inner love, then it further expands to be really connected with the environment, with the nature. So joy is another quality, and the mind kind of, instead of being labeling or negative or saying I know it all, the mind becomes more serene. Serene but open. Serene means calm, tranquil, but at the same time open and more fresh. So you see, the mind is usually like the world of the mind is outdated. It's literally outdated, and it's old, and it's what I call secondary. It's not first, it's second. It's outdated, it's old, because I know it all, you know. I know that's a tree, I know that's the sky, or that's the sun, you know. Everything is just old. And this is why we, you know, as people grow old, they become more and more boring usually, you know. And life becomes more and more boring, you know, because everything is old. And thus, coming back to the present moment, everything becomes more and more fresh, more and more new. And the brain, what happens to the physical brain is that your physical brain is designed to enjoy learning. Your physical brain functions best when it's fully engaged. So in the world of the mind, the brain starts to deteriorate, and people start losing memory at the old age because the brain simply deteriorates. It's a muscle which has not been used, and it just deteriorates. But when you come to the present moment and you go deeper into enlightenment, everything is completely illuminated and active. Your brain is buzzing every moment with aliveness, with freshness, with joy, with this huge light constantly shining through your brain. And even at the age of 70, 80, 90, the enlightened teachers are as fresh and as new as if they were born yesterday. Isn't it? Because they fully use their brain every moment in complete freshness, aliveness, spontaneity. So one of the aspects which is really good to start bringing awareness is your inner child. Is your inner child, and to remember that joy, spontaneity. Every one of you will feel the moments when you feel like, oh, this would be so cool, you know, and fun, And when the mind suddenly arises, oh, I'm too old for this, no, stop there, do that. Just do those moments that you did in your childhood. Come, bring back the freshness and the joy of living. So the inner child needs to be remembered, needs to be allowed to come back, and also needs to be healed. So you can do some meditations, some healing practices to remember your childhood, to remember you as a child, and to allow your child to come forward and your inner child to show you the way. Your inner child, we may say, it's another aspect of you who is still here and present, and if you simply invite your inner child to step forward, he or she will come, and your inner child can teach you a lot about the present moment, joy and spontaneity. So this is what came very spontaneous today with this beautiful play of the dogs, the father and the boy dog, and they are just really beautifully running around and playing, biting each other in a playful way. And this is what is spontaneously coming now. Let's bring that back, that spontaneity in our inner child. Let's bring our inner child back. And now we can do the practice. And what I will invite everyone is to remember your inner child and imagine that little boy or girl in front of you. And allow him or her to teach you, or simply remembering, or if some healing needs to be done, to heal that too. So we will do this practice and this meditation together with the focus to remember spontaneity, joy, aliveness, freshness, wonder, excitement, curiosity. So you can close your eyes. And let's find a song. So as you bring your attention to your breath, try to remember your childhood and you yourself as a child. Remembering some beautiful, joyous moments Just bringing your memory back to yourself as a child, to the happy moments, joyous moments, when life was easy and carefree. What a freedom it was to be a child with joy, no worries. You can also visualize your inner child in front of you. You can say hello to your inner child. And to reconnect your friendship with your inner child. To renew your friendship with this little boy or little girl, happy and free. Can even remember how you were playing with your favorite toys. Your favorite holidays. Maybe the first innocent love. This beautiful little boy or little girl. to give some time for the healing and remembrance to reconnect with that young, spontaneous joy, freedom, this beautiful happiness. You can bring love to your inner child to connect your hearts together. That beautiful, innocent heart that beautiful joy and freedom. Some of the most beautiful days of your life. When you were innocently learning about life, and playing every day, bring this love slowly to yourself, now as an adult. To feel that your body is surrounded with this gentleness, softness, lightness, love. To feel that you are loved. You are loved now with this beautiful energy around your heart, becoming softer. Surrendering, letting go of any heaviness, letting go of any limitation, spontaneity and joy, this happiness and freedom. Your inner child has a lot to remind you, to show you the way how to live happy and free again. Just for a moment, forgetting that you have grown up, forgetting any knowledge, just happy and free. Happy and free as this little boy or girl. ready, slowly start coming back. Bringing back a bit of joy, very beautiful, very beautiful to reconnect. Okay. It's such a beautiful practice. It really helps to step out of any adulthood, like any definitions. I'm grown up. And it can be a very beautiful way to come back to freedom and happiness. Because the inner child has so much to teach, to remind. You could say your inner child is one of your greatest teachers. And the stronger friendship you have, the more it will grow. So it can be a continuous practice. Because freedom, spontaneity, joy, wonder are some of the deepest qualities of consciousness. So these qualities can be reawakened. You had them, but then you grew up. And now it's time to reawaken them in a new way, which is awareness and presence. It is in a new and aware way, and present way, and intelligent way. But the qualities of freedom, joy, wonder are still the same. They still feel the same, like when you were a child. So this is one of the enlightenment practices. To come back to your inner child, to fully heal any difficulties, any traumas, any heaviness, and to fully reawaken those qualities within you. So some of the simplest things are some of the most beautiful things. And sometimes can be some of the hardest things. So somebody maybe who is in 400s being very philosophical will say, oh no, I'm too smart for this, leave it to the kids. And this is exactly where the ego will prevent freedom from coming. So your inner child will also teach you any resistances that this grown-up entity may have. Could say it's one of your best inner gurus is your inner child. Okay. So let's start with some sharing. Shall we begin from this side?
Very beautiful. Try to go through my emotions. This is not easy to see myself. No guilt. But yeah, it's very beautiful. So I could talk to myself and hug myself.
Yes, yes, yes.
Needed a hug.
Yes. And as we did in the practice, you can visualize that he or she is in front of you, this little boy or girl. It's like a new friendship that you are recreating. And yes, you can hug, you can give love, and that will really even touch your heart very deeply. So the inner child is real, it's the real being. You know, when I look at children, they're in different reality. Their consciousness is in a different dimension, in a different reality. It's not in the adult reality for sure. So it's in a different reality. And yes, the children have their own guides and they're their own beings. So in a real sense, it is another being who you were, but then another being of adult came in and you identified with that. So now as you can drop the adulthood identification, the inner child being can help you with that. And then you can simply, you neither need to identify with the child, but it's another being who is real. It's really real. So these are different beings, and sometimes we just identify with them. You may be identifying with the old and wise woman or man, you know, being a wizard, or, you know, some people, you know, there are so many identities, so many different aspects. Like being a mother is another identity, isn't it? Being a father is another identity. Being a wife or a husband. You know, with your child, you're a mother or father, but then with your partner, you're a wife or husband. And then to your mother or father, you're still a child. So there are so many identities that we have, and these are in reality different beings. And we are a combination of these different beings by the degrees of how much we identify with them. How in reality we are pure consciousness, without any identity, but allowing all these different beings to flow through us and express through us. Because the mother identity knows what the mother should do.